Let's go! Good morning, y'all. Previously on Kimba TV. So for you to not have that line, it already kind of tells me, hey man, you're not identifying bad highs and bad lows, okay? And if you're talking about this line, that's the uptrend. Okay, but make sure you get caught up because everything that I have on screen, brother, is days and weeks old, the significant levels. Okay, and then I drew this box like an hour and a half ago. How we doing, Lions? Y'all better quit playing with me. The math is the math. Hey, Blade, Ace, Pablo, Lenny. How we feeling right now? How we doing? All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Christy, what do you think about some scalping fun in this week? Probably not. I think it's better to pay attention to what we've been planning for the last month, Christy. Yeah, usually for FOMC week or CPI week, we'll just focus on the more important stuff. You know, same thing as last night. So if I was gonna get into think about like adding to the short or something, I would want like 68, like 2 to get cleaned. Yeah, so 68.2, 67.5, those are the levels of the upside for today. 68.2, 67.5. I mean, I would prefer a ding, 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 you know, turn value area low into support. But yeah, maybe that's going to get cleaned again. Yeah, it's not even a, here's the reason why you got to get caught up. Because it's not a random number. Ikron. The target, you would want to close your short when it starts to look bullish, right? So instead of talking about random levels, I always talk about how you can pre-anticipate that it's starting to look bullish. So you can apply that technique on any level, whether it's golden pocket, 7.5, VWAP. All right, so listen to how I explain how I would look at SOL and interpret it as starting to get bullish. And that's what you can use to get into a long, or if you're already in the short, you can use it as TP. But identifying the level is just one part of the task. Okay, whether it's a fib level, whether it's VWAP, whether it's value area low, value area high, whatever it is, identifying the level is the easy part. But how do you know you should actually close your short? How do you know that it's actually reacting bullishly? I go over that a lot. And that is not a 60-second answer. I could probably talk about it for 45 minutes to an hour, which is why you want to listen to when I did talk about it for 45 minutes to an hour. Alrighty, so obviously open interest CVD, like all of those divergences, all of those are going to be the most obvious answer, but I talk about like time frames, why the CVD hidden might be a little bit better than the regular, and we go back and take a look at all of the divergences together. Okay, so there's like a 20 to 25 minute, you know, SOL TA session somewhere. I don't know when we did it. It might have been a couple days ago, maybe like a week ago. But that's why I always kind of say like every day you should just kind of get caught up on the YouTube. You don't want to be the guy trying to look for something a week after, you know? But yeah, anything really in the 157, 160 zone for SOL, if you just want like a random number. But this is why a lot of people like copy traders or people that, look at this, people that don't want to put in the time and effort get fucked, because I might be like, oh, this is an interesting area where we might want to look for a long. And then people that have no idea what they're doing, they'll just put limits in. And then it'll do this. And they'll be like, oh, I thought we were going to long it. No, we always look at data. And then they're like, wait a minute. They'll be like, yo, you didn't take the long? What do you mean? The open interest indicated that people were shorting. Why the fuck would you long that? So you got to be able to read the data yourself. Sometimes I'll draw a box to indicate that it's a level of interest and people don't know that I'm looking at the data. And so people just put blind limits in and they get wrecked. And I'm just sitting here on the sidelines like, why would you long that? The data did not say to long that. So if you're in a short, you might identify a level as a TP, or you might identify a level as a TP, but you got to be able to see this, and you need to tell me if that looks bullish or bearish. You need to be able to tell me if this looks bullish or bearish. That's when you close your short. So you got to be able to look, we're all looking at the same shit. So you got to be able to tell me if it looks bullish or bearish. Okay, so we are preparing for FOMC since about 2 weeks ago, Legitorium. Okay, maybe even 3 weeks ago. So if you really want to know what I think, it's all in the YouTube highlights. If you want me to give you like a really shitty regurgitation, what I would emphasize is, one, making sure that you are caught up on the press conferences, right? The FOMC minutes, where Jerome Powell outlines the different variables that he considers important and how he would interpret it. Okay? And so listen to how he said he would look at CPI, PPI, GDP, and PCE. Last week we had GDP and PCE. Okay? And so you know what the PCE number was, right? And you would know what Jerome Powell said he would do if the PCE number was blank, right? So now you know or have a rough idea of how he's going to see the numbers and interpret those numbers. Okay, so you should have a good idea on what you expect him to do tomorrow. The question is going to be, is it already priced in? Is it not? Okay, for that, you would need to study the previous FOMCs. Okay, I've been streaming for 2.5 years. We've already seen 16, 17, 18 FOMCs. They're all in the highlights. What is the data set that you can look at to maybe anticipate if it's already priced in? Does the VIX show anything? What about the Bugammas? What about open interest? Okay, if you miss the position or the trade tomorrow, doesn't the weekly options expirations on Friday, sometimes they're even more volatile than Wednesday. So even if you miss a position or a trade tomorrow, you can still position yourself for Friday. Okay, do you see why it's not like a 30-second answer? We've been talking about this on and off every day for about 3 weeks now. So start with listening to Jerome Powell talk about how he would interpret CPI, PPI, GDP, and PCE. Okay, what was the main variable that he said was going to be the most important for him? Was it CPI? Nope. Was it PCE? Yes. So at a bare minimum, I would think you know what he said about PCE, and you know what the PCE number was that came out last week. Okay, so you should have a rough idea on if he's going to cut rates, keep it the same, or hike it up. So then the question becomes, is it already priced in? Okay, and then for that, you're going to have to nerd out on the previous FOMCs. Which ones seemed priced in, which one didn't? Which one had an initial move, debate, scam, wick, and which ones didn't? Are you aware of the fact that the first move is usually false? So some people won't have any idea what I'm talking about, but if it scam pumps first, they're going to short it. If it scam dumps first, they're going to try to long it. Lots of different ways that you can play this, okay? But there is no scenario where you juice and you don't know what you're doing. So I leave you with that. Try to, do your best. And what I would do, it's my pleasure, Legitorium, but what I would do is once you kind of get caught up on that, hey, let's spend the rest of the time actually with forward-thinking questions. Not so much talking about and me repeating everything that I've already said for the last 2 weeks, but a little bit more forward-thinking stuff. So I want you to get caught up on kind of all of those things. And then if you have any specific questions, let me know. All right. So some people might be asking, hey, what do the Bugammas look like on the higher time frame for tomorrow? Okay, you might want to start looking at Boo Gammas. Okay, you might want to start thinking about, okay, this is the Gex flip, that's the Boo Gamma. Are we actually going to have a Boo Gamma reaction? Doing this all day today is different from it going here and doing something like this. Okay, whether it's this or that, a Boo Gamma reaction will tell us something. Okay, if it just crabs and it doesn't touch any of the Boo Gammas, then we're a little bit fucked. We're flying a little bit blind. And that might happen too. All right, Legitorium. So we'll start there. I'm not really going to try to scalp or get into positions or anything today. As you guys know, maybe there is an opportunity, one more, like a hedge short, add to the hedge short type of shit. But yeah, I mean, that's really about it, right? What's been my plan since Monday last week? I want to get into big hedge shorts before tomorrow, right? So the last 2 to 6 days, that's all I've been really doing, right? So if we go up, then I might have another opportunity to add or anything like that. But I have my bottom longs in already. So I might play and scalp, but probably not today. Yesterday was really the last time for that. Alrighty, so 14 minutes. We're going to see what the Boo Gammas bring. We're going to see what the levels bring, and we're chilling. We're going to see what Macaulay looks like. But it's, day before FOMC, so it's just like last minute polishes. If we have an opportunity to add a little bit more to the head short, that'd be great. But yeah, that's it. I mean, tomorrow's FOMC, so last minute finishing touches today, and then that's it. We'll kind of wait for tomorrow. Well, so yes, if you've been able to follow along with me since last Monday when I got back from Hawaii, the whole plan between last Monday and till today has been to get into big shorts, right? Ironically, it already started dumping, and so like the 70,200 level that I wanted, for example, for like 400, 500, 600 Bitcoin short, we never got it. I've been chasing head shorts this whole fucking time. Fibonacci getting lost, levels getting lost, bearish retest, I'm chasing. And even with that, my short hedge is nowhere near the size it needed to be able to protect my long. So in a way, I did not accomplish everything that I wanted to do. It already started dumping before I wanted. I wanted this shit to be happening after FOMC. Okay. We still have opportunities, whether it's this single print or even those bad highs, to get swept. Okay, and we still have a full rotation. The thing that we talked about yesterday was I still, in a weird way, feel like we could get higher. But 69, 68, these are all sort of areas that we definitely might be given a chance to add to the short hedge. Alrighty. So like 68, 68.5, 69 on, those are all levels that we'll have to keep an eye on today. And like we said yesterday, today's probably the last day to maybe, polish up and kind of make our bed going into FOMC tomorrow. So that's where we're at. Do you guys have any specific questions? Azaz says, what is your emergency plan to protect your long in case if you don't get fulfilled for your short? No, tomorrow, Azaz, if it starts to dump real hard, the 208 or whatever Bitcoin short in total that I have is going to get run, and I'm going to close out the long in profit. Tomorrow is showtime. I'm not going to try to get cute tomorrow. So if I'm quote unquote wrong, then I'm going to get stopped out tomorrow. I'm not going to like try to protect or do whatever. Tomorrow I'm sitting back, relaxing. I'm already going in with my positions, and come and get me is the mentality tomorrow, Azaz. I'm not really going to be trying to scalp short or head short tomorrow. Today is probably the last day we have an opportunity to head short, Azaz. Alpeasy, where do your stop losses start for your bottom longs again? Around anything below 64. Yeah, and I would just re-enter. So there's like MEXC and BitUnix and just random positions. If any of them are 63, that starts with a 63, they're going to get closed out in this zone right here. Alpeasy. And theoretically, I might even add at 62.5-ish around here. So anything here, my stop losses are maybe here. And I'm kind of thinking about like somewhere here, just in case it's a ta-dink. So that's the last sort of bullish thing that I would tolerate, Alpeasy. Ta-dink. Pally says Kimba box around 65K still possible. Stop the music. So Pally, anytime the question is centered around is it possible, anything is possible, exclamation hopium. What you would want to maybe ask is what would invalidate it, for example. So what would invalidate it, Pally? The easiest thing would be to start talking about structure. So higher, lower. So what would you want this to not do? If this does this, probably the chances of it is lower, right? If this, what do you think it's at right now? Okay. So if it can spend time above here, it has a chance to make a higher high. So whether you are looking at this or you wait for the higher high to be made, or maybe you wait until the higher high is made and the lower high is made, or the higher low is made. All right, Pally. So if the question is it possible? Anything is possible. But what would not be good? Juice. Sounds good, Zaboza. Jeb says, any tips for what to study for FOMC? Stop the music. Jeb is asking, any tips for what to study for FOMC? Well, I mean, we've been, this is what I've said every day for the past week, Jeb, is that make sure you pay attention to the FOMC minutes from last month. You're going to notice that he said PCE is going to be one of the most important variables for him to consider to decide what he wants to do for the Fed rates. You know what we got for PCE, so that should help you understand what theoretically he should do. And then it's a matter of if you think it's priced in or not. And then maybe just, studying the previous FOMCs. So just, you could Google the previous FOMC dates. Yeah, I mean, whatever you think you can extract, Jeb. Part of being competitive as a trader is being able to look at the same stuff, but you can extract more than the guy next to you. So it's part of it is pattern recognition, and whatever you feel like you can squeeze out, that's what you want to try to learn. When does the stream start and end? I usually leave around this time. So, shout outs to you, brother. What's happening? What's up, my boy? Let's go. Usually I dip around this time. Tomorrow's a little bit unique. I'll probably show up a little bit before US market tomorrow. So yeah, just kind of think about what you think Jerome Powell thought, Jeb, when the PCE number came out. LOL Kukui says, today I took some L's. I was trying to get into that long, and on that last liquidity sweep, I was literally stopped down. I didn't get in. What would you recommend to me? Well, what was your plan? LOL Kokui. So first things first, if your plan was to plan for the most ideal situation, then that's horrible planning. LOL Kokui, I think you've been around me long enough to know that, what do I always say? Plan for all the worst case scenarios. So did you have a plan where you did not get filled on a long and it's swept and it's starting to leave you? Everybody should always have a plan where the train is leaving you. Because that will help you stop chasing it. What's your tolerance to chase something? If your entry was here, if you wanted to take all of this, your stop loss would be here anyways. And so whether it was that line or here or whatever you wanted to chase, any of these would have been okay. LOL Kokui. At some point, you're going to have to say, I missed my long and I am no longer going to chase my long, and on to the next one. So, I mean, even right now, LOL Kokui, are you somebody that wants like a gap fill and go? Do you want it to come all the way back down to TPO point of control? It's changing structure. So some people might say, hey, it's changing structure. It made a higher high. It can't make a lower low. Some people might do some goofy shit like this. And they'll chase this. And they'll be looking for 382 or 05 or golden pocket. It can't make a lower low, so people might have to say, fuck it, bro, I need to get in. Limits right there, that's their lower low, and see if they can get anything. So it depends on how aggressive you are. Your entry, like let's say, for example, you did that. Let's say, for example, you did something like this and you started to get filled on the 05. The 05 entry would be 66,080 versus if you had gotten a golden pocket retracement. So let's say, for example, that this had worked and this bad boy had come back all the way down to 0.5 over here. So you're looking at 65,600 versus 66,000. So that's really just a $400 difference. LOL Kokui. So whether this actually came down and you got your golden pocket filled a little bit, or you have to take this golden pocket, you're looking at a $400 difference. Okay, and then your stop loss is this. So you have a $400 difference in entry, and you are risking to $170, $180. So you're not really changing the narrative too much if you want to still try and chase these. Okay, but I would have thought about all of that already. If you're thinking about all of what I just said now, I think it's a little bit too late. But you should have a protocol on, okay, I'm going to try to swing high, swing low, golden pocket. I'm going to wait for right here. If this reverses at the 382 or the 0.5 and it doesn't come all the way down here, what am I going to do? How am I going to chase it? That's the kind of plan or protocol that you always want to have in place. So whatever that is, that's what I would be trying to execute. But if your plan is only planning for one thing, which is how you're going to get filled, that's not planning at all. Planning would be, okay, what if I don't get filled? Yeah, so maybe like another thing to think about too, LOL Kokui, and we say this a lot, and chat, you can even help me out if you want to. If it stops everyone out, it is very rare that it is going to let you come all the way back down to the golden pocket where everyone is waiting. If the whole point is to stop everybody out, it doesn't make sense to go back to where everybody is waiting. Another thing to think about also too is if it's coming back and letting you get filled at the 7.5, it might not be as bullish as you think. So you can kind of use that almost as your guidance. There were lots of opportunities. These were all letting you get in at the 7.5. That's a little sus. So let's see what the reaction is here. The last single print is around that blue line right there. Get alpha with it. Maybe you use this to decide if you want to actually try this one or you rather wait for the trident. Okay, but I feel like your question, and I think a lot of people's sort of interest was, bro, I'm trying to get into a long. How do I get into a long? Well, if you're not willing to take this one, then you're not really wanting to get into a long. You're just pussyfooting. So I'm kind of answering the question in the way that you asked it. But if you're looking for a long, you would definitely be attempting this. That's if you're looking for a long, LOL Kokui. Because that, like I said, if this whole thing was to stop everybody out, it would make no sense to get back in here. In fact, I would probably not want to long that. You know who's going to long this down here? I guarantee you motherfucking Bybito is going to be longing that bitch. So, okay, so this is where you kind of say, yo, I might actually have to take this bitch, and this is the stop loss. Okay, but here's the thing. Whether it does this or whether it does this, it's just another data point for you to use. Okay, LOL Kokui. So just you can, if you really, really, really wanted to get into a long, okay, that's why it's that. And then that's your risk management, okay? And at the end of the day, like, is your entry really that much more? It's not. Like we calculated earlier, it was like $400 difference, right? You see this, LOL Kokui? So what would you want to see now? Let's say, for example, LOL Kokui, that it's 4 o'clock in the morning, my lettuce ass is sleeping, okay? And you did this, and you got partial filled. When do you put your stop loss and cancel all the rest of your limits? You still have your limits right now, right? You still have limits right here, probably. Okay, some of them already got hit. Okay, a good chunk of them already got hit. When do you put your stop loss break even, LOL Kokui? Let's just say that you got these hit. These have hit. Your average entry is right here right now, around 0.5. Now what do you do? Okay, do you start popping that 8-year-old Opus that you've been saving? Do you pop that Opus right now? So theoretically, okay, if you had your entry 382 to 618 and you went 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, this is how much you have filled, okay? Let's see what happens. And whether I'm here to narrate this or not, you should play this out in your head. And it's not about being right or wrong. See how many times it does the higher probable thing and see how many times it doesn't do it. And just remember it all, and then you're seeing this. Sometimes it's going to do this. And guess what that's going to be? You guessed it. So you can't even celebrate until you make another higher high. And then guess what? Let's just talk about worst case scenarios. Let's just say that it does make a higher high. You know that it's going to do something like this. What is that? Oh my God. So I'm not saying that it's going to do it, but you would want to be thinking worst case scenario. You would factor this into how you're going to put your stop loss and profit. And I wouldn't expect you to get this right just after this one time, But this is how you see this shit and when this is happening, regardless of if I'm here or not, the thought process is always the same. Regardless of what happens. Alrighty? So let me know if you have any questions. And by the way, this is 5 minute. And so I don't really like this whole scalping thing, which is why I don't fuck around with this, But in the grand scheme of things, okay, do remember that you still have this going on. Okay, so if you're really thinking about it, there is this possibility. Okay, and there is the zone clearance probability too. Alrighty, this is also not the greatest. This is just begging for it to kind of break. So one of these divs need to stop fucking around and start really playing it out. This is not acceptable. It's making a div, but it can't pop. It's bullish, but it's struggle. It can't break higher highs. That's a little bit of weakness. So you're not really if it starts to, the minute that you see it change, you may want to put your stop loss break even. LOL Kokui, you see it? Musical control. It's on 20 mil volume, by the way. This is 20 mil volume. All right. All right, everything looks good, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe. I'm rooting for you guys, man. Let's go. The juice is the juice and the math is the math.